If you think about it, satellites are kind of like superheroes in orbit. Each one has its own mission, its own specialty, and together they create this invisible network that keeps our modern world running. They're not all the same, though. Some are built to connect us, some to protect us, and others to explore the mysteries of space itself. The idea of launching objects into orbit might sound like something out of science fiction, but today, thousands of satellites circle above us, quietly doing their jobs every second of every day. Without them, the world as we know it would feel like stepping back into the dark ages. No GPS to guide you, no instant communication across the globe, and no accurate weather forecasts to warn us about storms before they hit. But here's the thing. Not every satellite does the same job. Just like you wouldn't expect a firefighter to fly a plane or a doctor to build a bridge, each satellite has a very specific role to play. Some handle communication, making sure you can FaceTime with a friend on the other side of the planet. Others watch the skies and oceans, giving us crucial data about weather patterns and climate change. There are satellites designed for navigation, some for science, and yes, even some for military purposes. In this journey, we're going to break down satellites by function, what they do, why they matter, and how they impact your everyday life more than you might realize. By the end, you'll see satellites not as distant machines floating in the void, but as partners woven into the fabric of human civilization. Let's start with a type of satellite you probably rely on the most, even if you don't realize it. Communication satellites. These are the lifelines of our connected world. Every time you make a phone call across countries, watch live sports from another continent, or stream a movie at home, there's a good chance a satellite is involved in making it happen. Communication satellites orbit high above Earth, usually in what's called geostationary orbit. That means they move at the same speed as Earth's rotation. So from our perspective, they look like they're standing still in the sky. This is super important because it allows antennas on the ground to stay locked onto one satellite without constantly adjusting. Imagine trying to watch a live broadcast if the satellite kept drifting out of place. It just wouldn't work. Some of the most famous communication satellites belong to companies like Intelsat, which has been around since the early days of space, or Starlink, which is building a massive constellation of thousands of small satellites to bring internet to even the most remote corners of the planet. For people in rural areas or places where cable can't reach, these satellites are game changers. But communication satellites aren't just about entertainment or convenience. They're critical for emergencies. When earthquakes, hurricanes, or wildfires knock out local networks, satellites often become the only way to restore communication. In that sense, they don't just connect us, they can save lives. So the next time you text, stream, or call, remember, somewhere far above, a satellite is silently working to keep you connected. Now, let's talk about another type of satellite that doesn't just make life easier. It literally saves lives. Weather satellites. These machines are like Earth's eyes in the sky, constantly watching the atmosphere, the oceans, and even the movement of clouds. Without them, we'd be almost blind when it comes to predicting storms, tracking hurricanes, or preparing for natural disasters. Weather satellites usually sit in two types of orbits. Some are in geostationary orbit, hanging over the same spot on Earth, giving us continuous real-time monitoring of big weather systems like typhoons and hurricanes. Others are in polar orbits, circling from pole to pole while the Earth spins underneath, scanning the entire planet piece by piece. Together, they give us a complete picture of what's happening in the atmosphere. Take the GOES series in the United States, or the Himawari satellites operated by Japan. These satellites can capture images of storms forming over the ocean hours or even days before they make landfall. That kind of warning time means entire communities can evacuate, governments can prepare, and countless lives can be saved. But it's not just about dramatic storms. Weather satellites also track long-term changes in climate, measure sea surface temperatures, and monitor phenomena like El Niño. Farmers depend on their data to decide when to plant and harvest. Airlines rely on them to choose safer flight paths. In short, weather satellites are guardians. They might not get as much attention as flashy exploration missions, but without them, we'd be vulnerable to the full force of nature with little warning. They're proof that sometimes the quietest machines make the biggest difference. If there's one type of satellite you probably use every single day without thinking about it, it's navigation satellites. These are the systems that make GPS possible, guiding everything from your car's map app to airplanes flying across oceans. Without them, our modern world of travel, delivery, and precision timing would completely fall apart. Navigation satellites work by broadcasting signals down to Earth. Your phone, car, or any GPS device picks up those signals from multiple satellites at once, then calculates your exact location, often within just a few feet. It's like a cosmic game of triangulation, except instead of three friends pointing at where you're standing, it's dozens of satellites thousands of miles above your head. The United States runs the most famous system, GPS, but it's not the only one. Russia has GLONASS, Europe operates Galileo, and China developed Beidou. Together, these systems create a global network that ensures no matter where you are, deep in the mountains, out at sea, or flying at 35,000 feet, you can know exactly where you are and where you're going. But GPS isn't just about directions. It's the heartbeat of modern infrastructure. Banks use it to timestamp financial transactions. Power grids rely on it for synchronization. Even stock markets and internet services depend on its precise timing. And of course, delivery apps, ride-hailing, and logistics companies couldn't function without it. So, yeah, when you casually check Google Maps or order food from your favorite spot, remember, you're tapping into one of the most advanced satellite systems humanity has ever built. Navigation satellites quietly keep the world moving, literally. Now, let's look at satellites that act like scientists in the sky. Earth observation satellites. These aren't just about snapping pretty pictures of our planet, though they do that really well. They're about collecting data that helps us understand and protect the world we live in. Earth observation satellites orbit our planet with powerful cameras, sensors, and radars. They can measure things we'd never be able to track from the ground, like the slow melting of glaciers, the spread of wildfires, or even the health of crops in remote farmlands. Programs like NASA's Landsat or Europe's Copernicus mission have been doing this for decades, giving us a time-lapse view of how Earth is changing year by year. One of their biggest roles is monitoring the environment. They track deforestation in the Amazon, air pollution over big cities, and even how much carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere. This data is priceless for scientists studying climate change. But it's not just about the environment. These satellites also play a huge role in disaster response. After an earthquake or a flood, they can provide rapid images to show exactly where damage has occurred, helping rescue teams reach people faster. Even farmers rely on them. By analyzing satellite images, they can figure out which parts of their fields need more water or fertilizer, boosting food production and saving resources. In other words, these satellites make farming smarter and more sustainable. Earth observation satellites are like the planet's personal health monitors. They don't just watch from afar. They give us the knowledge we need to make better decisions for the future of Earth and everyone living on it. When it comes to satellites, not all of them are about science or weather. Some are built for power, security, and strategy. These are military and intelligence satellites. They operate high above Earth, often in complete secrecy, and their missions can shape the balance of power between nations. Military satellites come in different types. Some are for communication, making sure armies and navies around the world can stay connected securely, even in the middle of a conflict. Others are designed for navigation, giving precision guidance to aircraft, ships, and even smart weapons. But the most talked about are spy satellites. Yes, they're real. These satellites carry high-resolution cameras and sensors that can zoom in on the surface of Earth with jaw-dropping clarity. They can track troop movements, missile tests, or even the construction of secret facilities thousands of miles away. It sounds like something out of a James Bond movie, but it's a very real part of modern geopolitics. A single satellite image can change the course of diplomacy, revealing what governments might prefer to keep hidden. At the same time, they're also used for humanitarian purposes, like spotting refugee movements or monitoring war zones for violations of international law. Of course, there's a dark side. The same technology that keeps a country safe can also raise concerns about privacy and the militarization of space. The growing number of military satellites has sparked debates over whether outer space should remain peaceful or if it's becoming the next battlefield. Either way, one thing is clear. Military satellites are silent players in global security, watching from above, shaping events on Earth in ways most people never see. Not all satellites are focused on Earth. Some are built to answer bigger questions about the universe, about distant planets, and about where humanity might go next. These are exploration and science satellites, and they're some of the most inspiring machines ever launched. Take the Hubble Space Telescope, for example. For more than 30 years, It's been capturing breathtaking images of galaxies, nebulae, and star clusters, giving us a front-row seat to the cosmos. Then came the James Webb Space Telescope, which pushed our vision even further, peering back billions of years to glimpse the first galaxies after the Big Bang. These satellites aren't just cameras, they're time machines. Exploration satellites also study our neighbors. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has been circling the red planet since 2006, mapping its surface in stunning detail and helping pick landing spots for rovers. Other satellites have explored Saturn, Jupiter, and even comets, revealing worlds we once only dreamed about. Each mission expands our knowledge and sparks new questions about life beyond Earth. But these satellites don't just serve science, they inspire. They remind us that space isn't just empty darkness. It's full of wonder, history, and possibility. For scientists, they provide data that could take lifetimes to analyze. For the rest of us, they show that humanity's curiosity has no limits. Exploration and science satellites are like the storytellers of the universe. They help us understand where we came from, where we are, and maybe where we're headed next. And in doing so, they keep our imagination alive, proving that discovery is part of what makes us human. From natural satellites like our moon, to man-made satellites that orbit high above us, each one plays a role in shaping our understanding of space and our place within it. Some help us communicate across oceans, others warn us about storms, guide our flights, or even keep an eye on distant galaxies. Together, they form a silent network circling the Earth and beyond. Machines of science, defense, and discovery. What's fascinating is how satellites have become part of everyday life. We rarely think about them, but every time we check the weather, open a map on our phone, or see stunning images of the universe, a satellite is behind it. They're out there, tirelessly working, day and night, connecting humanity to the cosmos. And as technology keeps evolving, the next generation of satellites will do even more, exploring deeper, watching closer, and unlocking mysteries we haven't even imagined yet. So next time you look up at the night sky, remember, it's not just stars and planets. There are countless satellites out there, human and natural, shaping the story of exploration. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of satellites, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more space documentaries, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next adventure.